What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Obviously I got a new setup. Shout out to Vincenzo for the chair idea, and Katie and Nicole for the new camera stand. I got my little mic over here, so hopefully this will be my new setup instead of standing in front of my damn closet and just kind of talking aimlessly. At least now I have a little bit of a better setup, so I'm hoping this will make the videos flow a little better and, you know, retain your attention better. For today's video, I was going to talk about WandaVision episode 1 and 2. They dropped last night at midnight, but I didn't get a chance to watch it till today. I waited to watch it with my fiance. I will say I was like extremely hyped to watch this. I was very antsy to watch it, and I just wanted to get my taste for some Marvel content. So unfortunately, I will say it was not what I expected. The first two episodes added up to like a total of like an hour long. They were like less than 30-minute episodes, so I wasn't a big fan of that. I felt like I didn't get a chance to really get to dive into the storyline like I would like to. But I do have high hopes that the remainder of the season will be in a better direction, I guess I could say. But yeah, I can appreciate the fact that it was kind of like a sitcom style. I've never even really watched a sitcom of my own. Like, I know sitcoms were really big in like 70s and 80s or whatever. So like that style of the first two episodes, I know that's like what they were going for, so I can't really kind of bash them for that, but it didn't really work for me. There wasn't a lot of like plot development within the storyline. I felt like it was kind of like just like a one-off episode. Like, I'm trying to think, if I could watch this episode as somebody who is not a Marvel fan, like what would the main storyline of the series be looking like? And you know, the first episode they have the meeting with Vision's bosses, and you can see throughout the episode as it progresses, there's certain times when they start to like question the reality that they're living in. And, you know, Vision's like, you know, what do we do? What are we doing here at this job? Like, I don't even know what my job is. I'm just typing in numbers, and then something happens and I get congratulated with a good job or whatever, but I don't really know what I'm doing. He's kind of just going through the motions. And then you can see like when they're actually having dinner, and the boss starts choking, and the wife is like, stop it, stop it, stop it. It almost feels like a broken record. Like, part of her script is to just say that she can't feel emotion. She can't feel like she is nervous for the situation that's happening. So you can definitely tell that there's some kind of weird simulation going on. Some kind of like, there's like puppeteering or whatever. So I could see that, but there's not enough. There wasn't enough in the first episode, and there wasn't enough in the second episode for me to like really get on board with what might actually be happening, which I guess could be a pro or a con depending on like how much you want to know right out of the gate. I also thought that it lacked a little bit of, not a little bit, it lacked action scenes. There wasn't like any fight scenes. There wasn't like a typical Marvel fight or battle or something like that occurs that you like get excited for. I mean, like I said, I was hyped for this show, and then while I was watching it, there was really like nothing that I can like, no scenes that I was like, damn, this is crazy or whatever. But like I said, I have high hopes that moving forward in the season, it's not going to be the same. I think because it was in the black and white, they kind of had a little bit more of a muted storyline or whatever. And I also felt like there was a very minimal connection to the overall MCU. You kind of got like a post-credit scene right at the end of the first episode. It showed that somebody was watching the reality that Wanda and Vision are living in through the TV, and you see the little notebook with the Agents of S.W.O.R.D. So, you know, obviously that's like the real world. That's somebody's watching over her, and somebody's seeing what's like the events that are playing out. But you don't know how they got there. You know when this takes place after the events of Endgame. Like, I feel there's a lot of questions that aren't answered yet. So once those questions start to get answered, then the ball will start rolling even better. Some of the pros that I guess I can say is that I'm a fan of the simulation storyline. I was a big fan of Westworld. For those of you who know what Westworld is basically a simulation. I will say the current season, or season 3, the latest season that came out, was very difficult to follow, so I'm gonna have to go back to that. But I appreciate the fact that they're stuck in the simulation, and then there's like little anomalies that you can say that are causing them to question their reality. Both in the first and second episode, Wanda, more specifically Wanda, because I believe she's the one who's being affected the most. And it's actually within her mind that she's in the simulation, and it's not really anybody else. Everybody else in the simulation is just part of her projections. But you can tell where there's parts of the episode where she's talking about, when did we get married? Why don't I have a ring? When she finally gets pregnant and she's like, wait, how did this even happen? Or when she's like listening to the radio and the radio saying, Wanda, who is doing this to you? Like, there's certain parts where she's breaching the simulation, and I think it's just gonna be a matter of like a snap before she finds out, like, okay, this shit is completely fake. I don't know what's going on here. We need to figure out what's going on in the real world, how I got here, and how I can get out of here. But it's almost like the simulation is like everything that she wants in life. She wants to have that life with a vision. She wanted to settle down. She wanted to have kids. And she wants like the easy life. She doesn't want to be an Avenger kind of deal. So I think it's going to be a matter of her wanting to choose. Kind of like, unfortunately, like Wonder Woman, she's going to have to choose to take her wish for being stuck in the simulation with the love of her life and raising the family that she wants, or going back to the real world and realizing, hey, I have responsibilities because of how powerful of a being I am and whatever. But yeah, overall, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first 2 episodes. I'm curious to see what they do going forward. But yeah, as of right now, there's not much I can say that I know what is going to happen in the upcoming episodes. It's kind of hard for me to read the direction they're going in. But I did come up with a couple theories that I'm thinking of like how the season can progress and what's going on or whatever. So my first theory was that Wanda's like in a psychedelic trip that she created of herself. Like if we're going back to the events of Avengers Endgame, when she was like on the verge of killing Thanos and she really hit like her like Omega level, and the like the chaos magic that she was doing to like do damage to him, like you can tell it was kind of like almost altering her mind. So let's say she used her powers too much, and then it caused her to somehow have some kind of like residual damage in her mind. She goes to bed, and then now she's trapped in this dream, like a nightmare realm or a fantasy or whatever, and now she can't distinguish if she's really alive or what the hell's going on, but it's all in her head. And then she's being monitored by these agents of S.W.O.R.D. to see like what's going on in her head, and they're trying to like really just like uncover everything that she's going through within her own mind space. So that was my first theory. I don't necessarily feel like that's the most probable, because I think there has to be like a bigger villain here at stake. But yeah, my second one is that Agnes, her neighbor that we met in the first episode, and she came back in the second episode and introduced her to the blonde chick. I forgot her name, but I think she might be in control of all this. She might be like part of the simulation that is like enlightened. Like if you watch Westworld, she's kind of like Dolores. She pretends to be part of the simulation, but in reality she knows that she's not. She knows that she is actually in control of everything she's doing, and she's kind of manipulating it to be in her own way. or like you can say it was like what's his name, Anthony Hopkins' character in Westworld, the guy who's like the puppet master of all the hosts and all the simulators running around and shit. So I think she could be the one who's doing this mental manipulation to Wanda. She could be doing it in the real world and also in the simulation world, or whatever you want to call it. And then my last one is that Mephisto or some other mystical being is actually affecting her in the real world. He's put her in like some form of trance or some form of like a mental trap or whatever, and it's causing her to live out this simulation that we're seeing in the sitcom style. And the Agents of Sword are watching over her because it's having such an effect on her emotionally that it is altering reality in the real world. So, for example, let's say whatever the events are happening with her are really mentally disturbing to her, that it causes her to maybe vanish the city in the real world or something, right? But they can't figure out how to control it or take her out of the trance, because if they take her out too early, then it can cause like a major disaster or, you know, something along those lines. But I do feel like there is going to be some form of outer influence from the real world, and we're going to see what the point is of actually letting her be in this trance for so long, or maybe the Agents of Sword are the people who are putting her in the trance. Who knows? I feel like there wasn't enough for us to really know, and we just have to keep watching. But regardless, I'm still excited for what they have to offer. I know this is the first Marvel product that we've gotten in almost like a year and a half, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for now. But let me know what you guys think. If there's anything that you missed or anything that I missed, I'm probably gonna go back and watch the episodes again. Considering they're very short, I could probably watch it within an hour. And yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with the rest of the season. I think it's gonna kickstart moving forward, especially since she's going pregnant, or she's pregnant now, and maybe within the next episode she'll give birth and we'll see the progression of her children growing up and all that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What's one thing you really want to see this season, or what is one thing that you are theorizing will happen moving forward? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, do what you need to do to support your boy out here, and we'll see you next week. Take care.